All right, here's the preview video for FaithBlox, part 12. Didn't update that on my leader guide, but it is part 12. And we'll be talking about 1 John chapter 4, verses 13 through 21. First activity is a review activity, Bible verse buckets. So the three big themes throughout 1 John that Phil, big three themes that he's talked about are true living, true teaching, and true loving. So for this first activity, I have a green bag here full of pit balls. So you can have the kids form groups of 2 or 3 little clusters and then have them reach in and get 2 or 3 pit balls for their group and then have them look up the verse that's stuck on their pit ball. So 1 John 4:3. And as they look up that verse, they need to decide if that is a true living, true loving, or true teaching kind of verse. So one of those 3. And then after you give the kids a few minutes to look up all their verses, they can come back together and just kind of share their verses and say why they think it's true loving, true living, or true teaching. There's not really any right answers. We want kids to kind of chew on these concepts. So hear them out, let them defend why they chose what they chose. Try to challenge them a little bit so that you can tell if they've put some thought into it or not. Some of the verses will be pretty clear where it's talking about, love as Christ loved his followers, things like that. So challenge the kids through that. And then after they present their findings with where they are placing each verse, then I have these buckets over here, true teaching, true living, true loving. And you can set those along the edge of the rug or against the wall or something like that, and then have the kids stand at a certain point and try to toss their ball into the bucket that they think it belongs in. So there's your review activity to kind of recap some of the verses that they've looked at already and where those verses should fit. Then you'll play the video. After the video, we have what's in the jar. I have a jar right here. It's a big pretzel jar, and I put a bag around it so you can't see what's in it. And then inside the jar are different objects. So you want to do one object at a time inside the jar. And what's cool is you can pull this drawstring and kind of cinch it down. The kids can reach their hand in there, feel for the object, and try to guess what it is. But first they have to answer a review question. So go through the review questions below. For each correct answer, reward kids with 50 cuck and allow that child who answered correctly to come up and reach into the jar and feel around for the mystery object. If they correctly guess the object in the jar, reward them with another 50 cuck. Give them one guess if they guess something and that's not the right guess for what's in the jar. Then just move on to the next review question and you don't need to change the object. If they correctly guess the object, then you can pull that object out, reveal it, and then secretly put in another object. So we have a couple different things in there to go along with the questions. Last activity is first in line. This is kind of like the chicken and the egg, like what came first, a little bit of like a cause and effect kind of game. So I have 2 stacks of cards. There's nothing really special about each stack. They're kind of the same concept, but you can have the kids, in one group go through a stack and try to match up the different cause and effects. I'll give you a hint. If they have the same kind of font, then they go together as a pair, but then the kids would still have to figure out the cause and the effect. So eat lots of candy is the cause, and then the effect is get cavities in the teeth. Eat spaghetti and meatballs, wipe chin with napkins. So what comes first? That's what the kids are going to be working on. So after a while with one stack, you can have the groups switch stacks and kind of keep things fresh. But the discussion point on here is, talking about how we love because God first loved us. And because God loved us, the effect is now that we share that love with others. So that's kind of the teaching point that you're going at with that one. But that's FaithBlox for this Sunday. Thanks.